Everybody, welcome back to Fiesta Friday. Now, our friends at the Micronesia Area Research Center on Thursday, March 3rd, will hold a special symposium. Joining me now is Father Francis Hezel. Hezel. Okay, sorry about that, yeah. Father. Well, your work is very, very interesting because you have studied a particular part of the history of our island and of the Chamorro people, and you've actually dubbed a part of that conflict the Spanish Chamorro Wars. That's very, very interesting.
The Spanish Chamorro Wars revisited. The so-called Spanish Chamorro Wars, which were reputed to have taken thousands and thousands of lives. But when we do a body count, we find no more than 100 islanders lost during 30 years period of time.
Now, one of the things that we've known, we've talked to, historians, archaeologists over the years, and they say that, unfortunately, documenting history was not a strength of, like our people, and a lot of it was, like hearsay and conjecture. With what materials did you base your research?
Well, see, we did the materials we used were the treasure trove at the University of Guam. The Spanish materials, which that's the work of 30 or 40 years of collection that the University of Guam, particularly Micronesian Area Research Center, did. Now, when we do these things, I know that that we'll get lambasted for using the enemy's materials, for using Spanish materials, and that seems to tilt the judgment. But actually, over years here in Micronesia, I've gotten used to using Western materials because what else do you have? And reading between the lines. And reading between the lines is important, and making parallels to the present day situation, the cultural situation, and people's responses to it is also important.
Now, given your profession as a man of the cloth, how is it to kind of almost produce what would be considered revisionist history?
Well, see, about 25 years ago, I'd finished the material that I was working on for the history of the Caroline and Marshall Islands. So I was up here in Guam once, and somebody led me through MARC, and they showed me some materials in someone's office. I started riffling through those materials, and they were fascinating. They were about the 1700 and on, the period of some of the early Spanish governors, and what the Spanish governors were up to. And it wasn't sweet stuff, let me tell you. It was... Anyway, I wrote about that, went back to the earliest period, 1668, the coming of San Vitores, tried to write about this. I called it From Conversion to Conquest. The second work was From Conquest to Colonization. And realized afterwards that I'd gotten so many things wrong that I felt duty-bound to come back and have a look at this again. I'm a person with a lot of questions. I've a lot of questions, and those questions were multiplied when I came to Micronesia, for sure. So I've spent my life trying to figure out why people act the way they do, what's turned them into the kind of people they are today, why things are the way they are at present. That's been the genesis of my history, interest in history.
Now, I would say, in fairness, many people are going to be curious, and they're saying, why is a priest undertaking this kind of work? You're someone who would, by classical definition, maybe lead their flock, give them a solid foundation of material to guide them into how to live their lives and everything. But you're taking a very, very academic, and like you said, out of your own curiosities and everything like that, searching for the truth.
Yes. I'm doing that because I think I've come across a number of people here who I sense are divided. They're Catholics, and they like to be, strong Catholics, but they've also got their doubts about what happened during this early historical period. Was Pale San Vitores, was he a mass murderer? Did he lead something that essentially was responsible for the destruction of the population, or at least most of the population, and the culture? And these are questions I felt I had to contribute to. Like, perhaps it's like my current interest in suicide in Micronesia. I'm currently working on some other project that involves a look at suicide among migrants here. It has nothing to do with the way migrants are treated by Guamanians. It has a great deal to do with the complex social problems that people experience even in our own islands back there.
Well, we would absolutely love to have you back and talk about that research on a future episode. Yeah, you're welcome back anytime to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, your work is going to be presented once again on Thursday, March 3rd. That's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. Everybody at the IT&E Lecture Hall, room 31 at UOG's School of Business and Public Administration. But I must ask, Father, how has the feedback been to your work, like, thus far? And when you talk to people or when you make a certain argument and everything like that, how do they receive it?
Well, it's been divided. First of all, you get the normal response. People think that I have an interest that I'm protecting, the interest of the church, the picture of the church. San Vitores, I'm supposed to be helping, on the canonization of San Vitores, and I'm interested in it. But this isn't just for that reason. It's to, at least I hope, it's to find the truth that we could all share in. And particularly this symposium is important because I wanted to launch a discussion. I don't claim to have the final answers, but I've made a beginning, or at least I've added on to work that other people have done.
You've got the ball rolling.
Yeah, and I expect that to continue. I expect that any work that I do will be part of a conversation.
What have you learned through this body of work, which has certainly taken a very long time and everything like that, and how has it changed your own perception of, of the island?
Well, I think that what it convinces me is that what was in the past is still true now. That people are generally welcoming. They had the opportunity to slaughter the 36 people that walked into the shore in 1668, but didn't do it. So they saw something, and it wasn't just gospel teaching. It was certain benefits. And I want to have the opportunity of explaining that and getting people to think about it.
Well, certainly you will have that. So once again, everybody, that's going to be at the UOG School of Business and Public Administration on Thursday the 3rd from 4 to 6 p.m. Father, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, and we'd love to have you back for that additional research and